Do our attitudes predict our behavior? The answer is, it depends. Sometimes attitudes correlate with behaviors. For example, consumers' preferences for one product can influence the other purchases they make. But this is not always the case because attitudes compete with many other factors to influence behavior. The theory of planned behavior outlines some of the factors that influence the relationship between attitudes and behavior. It suggests that attitudes toward a specific behavior interact with subjective norms and perceived control to influence a person's intentions to behave in that way. These intentions, then, impact whether they exhibit the behavior. This figure illustrates the theory of planned behavior. When our attitudes toward a behavior are positive, we're more likely to engage in the behavior. Subjective norms include our beliefs about what others think we should do. If the behavior is normal or expected, we're likely to engage in it. And if we think we have control over deciding what behavior to express, we're more likely to express it. Sometimes, though, the social context inhibits this perceived control. Then these three factors combine to form an intention to behave. And this intention is what directly affects behavior. Of course, intentions do not always translate into behaviors. This theory of planned behavior has been used to make predictions about a variety of behaviors, such as who is more likely to obey speed limits while driving, wash their hands after using the restroom, and register to become an organ donor. Social psychologists have also identified some of the conditions under which attitudes predict behavior. 1. When the attitude is strong and held with great confidence. The stronger the attitude, the more easily it is brought to mind and the more influential it is. 2. When the attitude measure is specific to the behavior, when there's a close match between the focus of the measurement tool and the behavior in question. The more specific the items on our survey, for example, the more predictive they will be. Imagine we're interested in predicting voting rates in the next election. Consider the difference between asking, "What do you think about politics?" versus, "How likely are you to vote in the 2024 presidential election?" The second question is much more specific and will likely be more predictive of the actual behavior. 3. When we are well informed about the topic, we tend to behave in ways that are consistent with our attitudes. And 4. When an attitude developed from our direct personal experience, rather than indirect, secondhand information, it tends to be more predictive of behavior. So why are some attitudes stronger than others? In the 1990s, Bonninger and colleagues discovered some of the contributing factors. First, when an attitude directly affects us in some way, it tends to be stronger. Second, when an attitude is related to one or more of our deeply held philosophical, political, or religious values. Third, when an attitude is also of concern to our friends, family, and social groups. In any one of these situations, the attitude tends to be stronger and thus have more of an influence on our behavior. Now that you know more about the complicated relationship between attitudes and behaviors, it's time for you to explore attitude change in the next part of the lecture.